You're listening to Range Minded from Independence Indoor Shooting. This is episode 82, where we catch up with special guest Sarah, who's in charge of the inventory at Independence. She talks about doing more firearms instruction, both for females and co-ed, talks about the independent woman, what's new with them, and we get into the ins and outs of hunting, including what to think about when selecting a hunting rifle. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy episode 82 of Range Minded, the after summer catch-up with special guest Sarah. Hello and welcome to Range Minded from Independence Indoor Shooting. My name is Mark Long and I am joined by...
Steve Zimmerman, way over here.
He's getting his refreshment for the...
I'm not in the bunker. I'm here.
You're here live and in person, and we are joined by our favorite special guest Sarah.
Hello.
He beat me to it. Yeah, man.
Drink that. You know that, right?
I don't know how good this is going to be with
What?
gum.
Oh, it's all right.
You should put it on the table. It's a clean table. It's never had gunpowder or anything on it.
Behind your ear or something, whatever.
Yeah, Steve is live and in person here at Independence.
Yeah.
And came all the way from Eastern Idaho.
Yeah.
Sarah decided to take time out of her busy Friday evening to come hang out with us for a little while.
Extreme social activities.
Well, the World Series is over, so she has nothing else to do.
That's true.
right.
That's into what, Wednesday?
I have no idea. I don't watch baseball.
I was just flipping through, and then I was flipping through the channels waiting for the news, and I saw that baseball was on. I go, I wonder if who's winning, and the team won the series.
Nationals.
Yeah, the
Yay,
Nats.
team.
Yeah, go baseball. I'm not a sports
I wonder how many
guy.
touchdowns they got.
Probably 4.
Yeah.
400 touchdowns.
Yeah, whatever they did, they won.
All of the points.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Well, congratulations if you're a Nats fan. So, we're not talking about that. We're just we wanted to catch up with Sarah because the shop has changed a little bit, and I think your role has changed a little bit, and wanted to see how your summer was, talk about hunting a little bit, some hunter's ed, education, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time we had you on. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's probably been about 6 months, I would say.
Maybe even more than that.
And summer flew by. So I don't know.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I don't know where it went. It's November now, man. Yeah. So how was your summer? Did you do anything fun, firearm related?
I kept working here. I was teaching classes, but I didn't do anything adventurous. We pretty much just kind of hung out, stayed around the house.
Sure, yeah. Because if you don't know, if you've never heard Sarah on the podcast
She took
before,
pictures of her dog. I saw a lot of those
I take
on
a lot of
Instagram.
pictures of the dog.
That's good.
The kids are out of the house, so I take pictures of the dog.
There you go.
Oh, geez, that was loud.
That was a little loud. But yeah, if you haven't...
Wait, hold on. Listen. So I brought Bundabergs with me.
Oof, I thought that was going to go everywhere. Yeah, I guess it's just tradition now when Steve's in person. Steve's here in person.
You have to have it, Sarah.
Well, I don't. It's going to be gross with my
Don't
gum.
be ungrateful.
Wow.
I'm so grateful, Steve.
Wow, she'll save it for later.
I will.
You got to drink it here so we can see your reaction. Most people are like, "Oh, that's better than I thought it was." Yeah, see that? Mark loves them.
I'll take your word
Bundaberg
for
ginger
it.
beer. Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
Oh, it's got antioxidants.
Ginger is good for your stomach.
It's healthy. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
This is like, I was going to say it's like the vegan of soda pops, but it's even better than that.
Yeah, it sure is. It's quite good. She's apprehensive, but she'll try it.
I'll have some.
Do it.
Momentarily.
Now.
Peer pressure.
Anyway, no, if you haven't met Sarah or heard Sarah on the podcast before, she is in charge of inventory still, right?
Still doing inventory.
So all the guns come in and out through her.
Yeah, so she's kind of stuck in the back. Not everybody gets to see her, but she does do instruction also. But she is pretty awesome in the back there.
I've been hiding in the back a lot more lately. Except now that it's getting cold, I emerge into the retail floor so that I can warm up.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to layer up. There's that garage door. That's
the guys are always so surprised. What are you doing out here?
You're still here.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're instructing more. You're doing hunter's ed, right? What else are you teaching?
I haven't done hunter's ed in a while because I've been so busy. It's hard to stay here for 13 hours doing hunter's ed, but I'm going to start doing it again. I've been talking with Rob, so we're going to get back on it.
Nice.
Because you guys team up together, right?
Yep.
Nice. What else have you been teaching?
Well, we had a few of our instructors that they have different duties going on right now. So it's the same. I just moved on to the co-ed basic, I was nervous for that one. I was a little apprehensive about teaching men, but it was fine, just like they said it would be. And
Yeah, they just need to get over it, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because you were teaching women's basic too, right?
I was strictly just women's basic, and now I'm doing the first shots and the new shooter orientation, and I'll do the women's basic class as long as I possibly can. And
yeah.
the basic pistol and helping out on the range with the enhanced concealed, things like that. We have a new instructor, Addis, just started not long ago, and he's awesome. So he's kind of merging into. So
cool.
Yeah, Addis is awesome.
Does he have any specialties or anything like that, or that he's teaching?
He works with Jessica, I guess, out on the base, and so they do their firearms stuff out there.
Very cool.
I see him in passing. He comes in to help with the class, and then he's gone. So I don't know.
He's a man on the move.
He is. He's a busy guy.
Well, maybe we can get him on the podcast one of these days.
He's awesome.
So what do you think the biggest difference is, or what have you found has been the biggest difference between teaching an all-women's class and a co-ed class?
Well, the men, from what I've noticed so far, it's really the same. Everybody's a beginner. They're, humble, and no one so far has tried to prove that they're super awesome or anything. It's the men and women. Men seem to be less expressive. The women are very involved and nodding and smiling and laughing, where the men are very serious. And
I think it's because we don't want to look like we don't know anything.
Yeah, I think that's
the pride thing.
We don't look like we fit in. Like we
just
belong.
be like, I knew that already.
It's just, but going out on the range, there's no difference. I've noticed no difference at all. They take the instruction just fine. Just like I was worried about it with Jessica, and was afraid that it was going to be a bunch of gruff guys who didn't want to be taught by women. But so far, they've been very open-minded and willing to learn. So that's pretty.
Well, I think
awesome.
as the shooting sports grow, I think because it used to be, I won't say exclusively, but it was predominantly a male sport.
Yeah.
But I think and you can see it in any genre of the shooting sports, that there's a lot more feminine presence, and I think it's just getting commonplace.
And I think a few of the guys have actually been more relaxed having women teach. Jessica and I did a basic pistol class together in the co-ed, and it was mostly men, and they seemed quite content having, women instructors. They asked a lot of questions, and there were no egos. That was awesome.
That's a good thing. Yeah, I think that, especially over the last few years, or even since we've started the podcast, that there's been a bigger female presence in the shooting sports, and
even in the store,
we see so many more women in the store.
Really?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Do they come in usually by themselves, or with their significant others or friends?
Both. It's everybody. We have little ladies coming in on their own. We have, spouses, husband and wife teams. Yeah. We have groups of women coming in. With the independent women, we have a lot more. They're encouraging their friends to come in. So we see a lot more of that. And it's really cool to see a lot more women coming in and checking out the rentals and asking a lot of questions. And hopefully the guys aren't talking down to them or anything. So far, they seem very receptive and happy. So
well, that's really what needs to happen anyway. If you look at it at a political standpoint, which I know Mark we don't always agree on politics on some things, but I think on this we would agree that it's important, if we want to keep the Second Amendment alive, that we need to involve more women, more moms, because they're the ones that really have an influence with the children. Oh yeah, well, and almost universally in my classes, it's the women say that they're in there because the world is changing and they want to take care of themselves, and that most of them have kids. It's mostly younger women with new families. They want to take care of themselves. The husband's not always there, or they're single moms, and then a lot of empty nesters. Lots and lots of empty nesters coming in. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. And you're right. That is what needs to happen. I mean, the Second Amendment doesn't apply only to one kind of person, male, female, any creed, color, race, religion. It applies to everybody in the U.S.
It truly is the least bias out of all the amendments.
Yeah. And so, like you said, we need to make sure that everybody's kind of included in that and everybody gets to enjoy it. So.
Yeah, the guys are always happy that the girls like to shoot. So.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what husband wouldn't want a good shooting buddy anyways.
Well, it cracks me up that the women that come in with a gun that their husband has bought them, it's almost always the wrong gun, but they're always, the husbands are always so happy, just like throwing new things at their wives. You need to try this. You need to try this.
So when you say the wrong gun, what do you mean?
They'll go out on the range and shoot it, and it just won't fit them. They hate it. They hate the way it feels.
Bought her the cute little pink LCP.
Either the cute little teeny tiny gun, or a gun that's way too big, or a revolver.
You need this 44.
Or you need a 45 it's way too big for your hands, I guess. Yeah, that would make sense.
Thankfully, we have the Easies in the Academy Safe now that we get to give to the ladies. My last women's class, all but 2 of the women in the class had Easies between our rentals and what they had already bought. So that was fun.
That's a great gun.
Yeah, it is a great gun. I mean, and I think, going back to including more people in the Second Amendment, that when we've talked about this on the podcast before, is that the more accessible and easier it is to get people into shooting, the better.
That gun was a game changer.
Yeah, because it's not hard to rack the slide at all, which I think a lot of people have kind of reservations and hesitations about, especially if there's one that has a really stiff recoil spring. And the 380 is a relatively gentle cartridge.
Yeah, and that grip safety, that was the thing. Every single woman that shot it was brand new to most of them, had an issue where they pulled the trigger and it wouldn't fire. Well, nothing's happening. It's that grip safety. You have to have a really good, strong grip on that in order for it to work. And so it forces them to get that good, strong grip.
Well, and not only that, where it pivots on the bottom of the gun instead of the top of the gun, like a 1911 or even some of the Springfields.
Yeah, my XD has the pivot on the other side.
And if you don't have a perfect grip on that XD, it's not going to run.
Yeah, which reinforces good habits, though, because, you have that's, part and parcel to shooting accurately and shooting well. So, well, that's good. That's good. Doing well. Also, you're doing the Independent Woman.
Still doing the Independent Women.
The other half of the Independent Woman.
Yeah.
It's changed a little bit, right?
Yeah, we've gone through some kind of structure changes, trying to accommodate our budget and everybody's schedules. Meeting once a week was a little bit too much for the women, so we switched to we're actually physically meeting just once a month, but then they're allowed to come in on the Mondays and Thursday time still and get their discounts and benefits. And they're coming in.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was a good move anyway for the store to create a ladies group anyway. So, and I figured when that first started that there would be some evolution in it because it's difficult.
It's been logistically a tremendous challenge, but the interest has grown so much. We cut it down to, we have a cap now of 28 women. We have a waiting list for the next session because we cut it into quarterly sessions.
Cool.
And it's awesome. The response that we've gotten is
that's great,
phenomenal. So we'll hopefully be able to expand it in the future. If we have these wait lists longer, we'll have to add another instructor and see how it goes.
Build it out from there. Yeah.
The nice thing about how you've got it going now is that you're kind of teaching that instructor as it evolves, and then some of those ladies might even have a chance to take that role at some point. You never know.
Yeah, it's amazing watching these women. They're advancing really quickly.
And it's like we've talked to Shay and a couple other ones. They want to get more involved. I think Shay was in the RSO class, and that's just taking it to the next step.
Yeah, a few of them are taking every class they possibly can. It's awesome. Awesome.
Nice. Independent Woman is going well. I kind of miss RSOing for you guys.
Yeah, we miss porn.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was a good time, and it was fun to see people progressing and getting more confident with shooting. And
it's really fun to watch them shoot.
Yeah,
they're so expressive every single time they come shoot. They're so excited about how they're shooting, or they're upset about how they're shooting because they haven't been practicing, and they keep trying. They get frustrated, but it's awesome. There's always lots of pictures, and
that's one thing that's fun about shooting is it really is a confidence builder when you're shooting, and it feels, I don't know, maybe you can understand, like when you're shooting and you can feel that you're shooting well, if that makes sense.
You're like in the groove and everything.
It's just so much fun, and it is a confidence builder.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say about the women at Independent Woman is that the confidence is great. I mean, a lot of people I think started out a little hesitant or whatever, but once they get into it, I mean, and this is for anybody. I mean, you can see the confidence go through the roof, and that's always that's my favorite part of seeing is people maybe they walk in a little bit scared, a little bit apprehensive of shooting or firearms or whatever, and they almost always walk out a lot more confident with a smile on their face, having a good time. So
and that camaraderie is a big deal too, because if they're not doing so great, the other we're nurturers, and so they they'll group around. Oh, well, I did this, or you can do this, or that exact same thing happened to me, and it's awesome. Yeah.
Do you think that the Independent Women group are getting better shooting wise and skills wise because it's a group?
I think it helps tremendously. Yeah, they help each other along a lot because we're just observing at this point. There's very, very little instruction going on, and it's that they help each other out because they were all beginners. They all started out brand new, and
That's awesome.
It's really cool to watch their progress and watch with the new ladies and watch how they kind of, bring them in and help them out and watch the new ladies progress. It's just, it's amazing. They're strong.
Cool.
Good group.
Well, that's great. Yeah, check them out on Facebook, Independent Women ID, I think.
I think
on
so.
Facebook.
I don't know.
We'll link to it on our Facebook.
I'm going to jump on there real quick while you're talking. Let's see.
And check it out. Yeah, if you want to check them out and shoot them a message or anything like that.
Yes.
Yeah, you're also doing hunting, hunter's ed.
All the
That's a big
hunting.
thing because
Yeah.
we've talked about it. You come from a hunting background.
Yes. Hunting is what we do.
Yeah, so let's because that's how you got into firearms first off, right? Was hunting. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, my husband is a huge hunter, obviously. We've been hunting since we met, and that's how we really, grew close. So I was a rifle hunter forever and ever, and just kind of fell into this, started being comfortable with rifles and stuff. Kind of helped with when I started my handgun training. And then it just progressed from there. It all ties in together. Husband's super delighted that I work at a gun store.
It's a nice bonus, yeah, for sure.
I probably spend more money than I make, but I think that's this case for everybody that works here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's a problem.
It is a
Yeah, well, you have a problem.
Shush.
I was walking in,
Shush.
buying stuff.
I don't think my wife listens to this anyway, so I guess it's okay.
Preparing or getting ready to buy more stuff, and you're here all weekend. And
Well, I keep losing stuff. I got to buy more things.
I don't know where do you get all the money for this stuff? That's what I want to know.
Who was I talking? Oh, I was talking. I think it was back in Idle Falls. It was one of our sales reps in Idle Falls.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I keep losing stuff in boating accidents. He's like, how do you lose a gun? I'm like, I'm losing my guns. I gotta keep buying more. How do you lose a firearm? Never mind.
I don't know if you guys heard the air quotes, but they keep losing them somewhere. Idaho Falls is a big area.
He finally caught on. He's like, well, maybe he did. He said he did.
He pretended.
Yeah.
nodded.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So talk about hunter's ed a little bit because is it a lot different than teaching hunter's ed than it is like basic pistol or any kind of firearms kind of only training?
Oh gosh, absolutely. It ties into. I'm super happy to be a hunter's ed instructor first. I haven't been doing it very much just because of my schedule, but
Sure.
it's awesome watching these kids come in, and they're so much fun to teach the hunter safety to because they're in school and they understand the whole process of what you're supposed to do in a class.
Sure.
Whereas the adults, you ask a question and they all just kind of sit there.
Look at each other.
Oh, really?
Nobody wants to talk.
Nobody wants to answer.
So the kids, they'll all raise their hands and participate, and it's really fun. They take it all in, and they're all very excited about it. They get super excited when they pass, and it's just really fun to watch. They interact a lot more, where the adults that take the class generally will just sit. It's weird. The adults don't really, they participate, but they don't interact. They don't
Sure.
answer the questions, and they let the kids do it. And so it's different. It's a lot of fun. It's a laid back class. You're basically just teaching I really like to teach the ethical part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's ethical stuff and safety. It all ties in together, and it's fun watching the kids learn.
Yeah, I imagine since, kids, like you said, go to school pretty much every day,
Mm-hmm.
They're used to being in a classroom setting. Adults maybe haven't been in a classroom for 5, 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
So they don't really know how to act anymore.
Yeah, they look uncomfortable when they're there half the time.
And they don't want to be like that person who like answers every question or whatever
Yeah.
and all that. So
Shut up, kid.
I've been in a few classes like that where it's like nobody kind of looks at each other and it's like, I don't know if I want to answer.
Yeah, I don't want to say the wrong thing.
I don't want to be wrong and I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
And yeah. So, but let's talk about like the concepts a little bit.
I'm so used to being wrong, it doesn't matter. Anyway.
Let's talk about the concepts of it a little bit because obviously, with pistol shooting, we're talking about target shooting and self-defense more and those kind of situations. Obviously this is with hunting, it's hunting game and it's outdoors, and the ethics, like you said.
Yeah, the ethics is a really big deal.
Yeah. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, as we get more hunters in the state, coming from other states, it's really important to understand the ethics. Today was a big one for me that kind of underlines why ethics are important. Fish and Game, there's a cow tag out in Unit 45 out in the desert, and they just opened it up to, there's 2,500 tags now.
Wow.
And it opened today, and my husband and daughter are out there, and I can't swear, but it was a show. And it was craziness.
A poop party.
And they were... And it's ethic. My husband was super frustrated because he's hearing people shooting at herds, flock shooting basically. And he said Fish and Game was out there handing out tickets left and right.
Good on him.
Wow.
People, shooting across the road. It was insane. And that's the ethical part of hunting is something I think that really needs to be stressed. You can teach safety, and this is how you're safe with a gun. It's very black and white. But,
right.
But the ethics is, if you see you're hunting with your dad, and your dad's flock shooting cows, and he shoots 5 times and you can hear 3 thuds, and he keeps shooting just because the cows aren't stopping. That's
wow. That's
what are you teaching your kid?
Yeah, you're leading by example, good and bad.
Yeah.
Hopefully none of those people took their classes here.
I doubt it.
There's only so much we can do. We teach the functions. This is the safety. This is, here's some of the laws. Here's what you're supposed to do. But ethically,
It really comes down to them.
we're sending you out there, and it's up to you to be, make the right decision. It's what you do when no one's looking.
Right, when you're out there on your own.
It's kind of frustrating because I even hear people talk, well, I got this 300 win. I can take a shot at an elk at 900 yards or whatever. I'm like, that. Why?
I was teasing Rob because he was laughing about I have a 300 Win mag, and that's all I need. And I said, I have a 6.5 Creedmoor because I can shoot. He just laughs at me.
Yeah. So, I'll just put this out there. I don't know the first thing about hunting as a city kid. I know people go hunting. I know what to hunt for. That's about as far as it goes. It's always something I've been interested in.
What are we hunting for?
Once. Food.
Oh, okay.
Or for sport, I guess, to some degree. But
I don't know if you're going to say wabbits or
people.
No.
No, but you can hunt elk and deer and antelope and other animals.
Yeah.
Waterfowl.
Mammals.
You can hunt squirrels now. I'm really excited about that.
They don't taste very good, though.
You can hunt squirrels?
Yeah, they opened up a red squirrel season.
A red squirrel?
It's amazing.
Is that like 22? You shoot
Those are those
22
big
out there?
bushy-tailed ones, aren't they, though?
City squirrels thing.
What the heck?
You just take a 22 and start popping them off, or?
I haven't shot one yet, but I'm looking forward to the day. And I will eat it. You have to eat it. You can't leave it. So
I wonder. That's got to taste interesting.
I've actually heard it's good.
They eat them in the Midwest.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh. I'm sure it's one of those things. Tastes like chicken.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
A little nutty.
So does caliber choice come into play when you're dealing with ethics of
Sure.
hunting and everything?
Absolutely. You get those. It's not illegal in Idaho to shoot animal. It is a big game animal with a 22 caliber.
It's not illegal.
For big game, it is.
Oh, okay.
But you can shoot 5.56 20. Like,
yeah.
You can shoot a 2.23, but
it's pretty lenient. So it's, again, you're having to make that choice. Can you really? Sure, you can kill a big animal with that 2.23, but are you going to do it ethically? Is it going to
be a clean
wounded, and you're going to have to chase that animal for days? Then there's the question, if you do wound an animal, you've wounded an animal, and you can't find it, do you go hunt another one? We see a lot of people go off and fill their tag on another animal. And
wow.
I'm uncomfortable with that. And there's a lot of gray areas, and it's up to us as humans to make the right decision. But
Yeah, because one of the things that I know, is that when you do go out hunting ethically, you want to make as humane a kill as possible,
Absolutely.
right? That's why you go for the heart,
Yeah.
and it can kill an animal in seconds,
Yeah.
right? Before they even really know
you're
or
killing
feel
an
pain.
animal. And unfortunately, there are those moments where we make not the greatest shots, but that's why the caliber is important. So if you use a bigger caliber, if you make a shot that's not necessarily the greatest shot, it'll still,
Do the job.
expire quickly.
Yeah.
Rather than shooting it with a teeny tiny round and it's just going to, go off and take days to die, and you can't harvest the meat, and that's just a waste.
Yeah, and that's another big thing. I think and I'll defer to you on this, but at least I think that most people, at least in Idaho, go hunt for meat. Is it? Do you find
Absolutely.
that usually? It's not usually a sport thing.
I know a lot of trophy hunters, but everybody likes the meat. Even the people who are in it for the sport will they'll harvest an animal and give the meat away to somebody who does like it.
Oh, really?
So that's and that's good. We very rarely see people who are out there just looking for, I don't know, something to do. I can't really relate to the sport hunting. I'm hunting for meat.
Right.
It's cool if you shoot an animal, an elk with a big rack or something, but I want my freezer filled. That's all we eat is the game. So we don't.
Can't eat the horns.
Yeah.
No, you can't. No. Can't grind them up and make them like a seasoning either.
Well, and it gives you such a deeper appreciation for what you're eating, how it got to your table, what it took, because you're taking a life to, feed your family.
And if anybody says it's cheaper to
it's definitely
hunt
not
than
cheaper.
it is to go to the store.
It's probably 5 times more expensive in the end.
Yeah. I mean, all said and done, I bet that's got to be pretty pricey. But I'll tell you what, man, elks, like I've had an elk burger and elk steaks and everything, and it's good eats. And yeah, like that's, I think what appeals to me about hunting is that, it does combine, firearms and target shooting to a degree with the outdoors and getting your own meat.
It's a good feeling.
Something I've never done before, and I feel like everybody should kind of go through that process once, because it's like I don't know, when push comes to shove, can I pull the trigger and kill an animal?
Yeah, it's not for
know.
everyone. Some people, I have my oldest daughter. She's not a hunter. She tried it one time, and she's like, nope.
Really?
That's it.
And that was it?
Yeah. So we have to, but she won't eat beef or anything. So she comes and raids our freezer still.
Just going to come take all the elk. Yeah. Because that's the other thing I think that people don't realize is, taking that shot is what 1% of the whole experience, because especially here in the backwoods and everything, or the backcountry, you have to get it out somehow.
Oh yeah.
And you skin it out there, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's all the experience. Like I had an archery elk tag this year, and we spent so many days out there, and it was exhausting. But it was a super cool experience. I have never in my life been so close to so many elk, close enough to hear them breathing.
Wow.
5 yards away at one point. It's awesome. And that in itself was completely worth it. I didn't get my elk, but there were a few days where we were that close to many elk. And
I think I'd be scared, actually.
It was a little nerve-wracking. The where I could hear there was a big 6x6, and there was a willow bush, and I couldn't see through the willow bush, but my husband was up on a ridge and he could see, so he could see what was going on, and I could hear it, and all I could think of is, oh my gosh, if this elk decides to charge ahead, I'm done for. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, there's a little bit of danger in there.
Yeah, that was a little nerve-wracking, but it's just awesome, super awesome to be that close.
So how do the firearm principles kind of compare and contrast with handgun shooting? Because obviously you're shooting at a much longer distance. You're really only aiming on one shot, whereas with combat shooting, we've talked about combat effective before, where you want to get as many rounds off as you can to a degree, at least within some sort of a circle, but it's only 5 to 7 yards away.
Yeah, it's everything fundamentally is the same. You're just having to get on the target and know where you're shooting, make sure you're calm on the trigger and that you're safe. Once you've made the shot, take your mag out, make sure the gun's empty. We have a few friends, actually one friend in particular, that actually got hurt very, very badly a couple of years ago in a hunting accident. So we're really we're pretty hardcore about the safety part of it. And you don't always knock it. It's not like the movies, where things just fall over the second you shoot them. So sometimes you have to make that second shot. And so it's a matter of just being steady and safe, and don't assume that you're the super master hunter. And you might have to make that second, third shot. So you just have to be ready.
Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about this on the podcast, is that with firearms, there's so many different avenues down which you can go, and hunting is never one that I've explored. I want to, but yeah, it's fun. It's a whole nother world. So
I wish everybody would try it. It's interesting for me because none of the women that I hang out with will hunt. I know very few women that will. They don't want to look an animal in the eyes before they.
Really?
Yeah.
You're like, this is awesome. Why?
It's got to be tough, especially that first time that you do it. You don't know what to expect.
No, it's understandable. It's definitely not something everybody can handle. There's some gruesome parts of it, but
sure,
it'd be nice to have some female hunters to hunt with. But
so it's mainly just you and the guys most of the time.
Yeah. Our daughter she'll hunt with us, but she's a busy kid. She's 19, so has has better things to do.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, there's a lot going on. She has a social life.
She's
got a social life. Yeah, because Steve, you've never hunted, right?
No, I've been hunting with friends.
Okay.
But I've never filled a tag for myself. In fact, I just passed hunter's ed last year with Rob teaching the class. So
yeah.
And it's not. I've been around firearms a long time, and most people that know me know that I'm into firearms a lot.
Says the guy with the Glock T-shirt on. Never would have guessed.
See, it's perfection. But and it's not that I don't like the idea of hunting or don't want to go hunting. Is I keep spending money on guns instead of actually. I don't need another expensive hobby.
It is
and I know I would absolutely enjoy it. So I just
don't try it. You love it.
That's exactly why. Honestly, that's why I don't go. But it doesn't mean I don't want to.
Sure. Yeah. Because it's just, it's one of those, it does take time, and it does take probably a good amount of money for a lot of gear, and because you're outdoors.
Yeah, you have the gear.
Yeah, you're out there doing stuff, and you're trekking, 10, 20 miles in and
gas
back. And
you got my father-in-law and brother-in-law, they have their ritual. They go out, there's the general elk hunt starts today. And they're all out there at their usual camp. They've been doing this camp since I've known my husband.
Yeah.
So they're all out there, and they're all in it for, if they shoot something, great, but the rest of it's all just the experience.
Well, some of a hunt camp is just like getting away and camping with guns, really.
It really is. They do a lot of hiking and stuff, but it's
just getting away, huh?
It really is getting out of town, away. They don't have cell service out there. So
just a way to disconnect.
Walking around the forest, hoping something comes along, but if it doesn't, then it's still go back to camp and drink beer and tell hunting stories until the next day.
Well, sounds like a pretty good time.
We have a friend from the store, a mutual friend for all of us, that he stayed the night at my house, and then he went up to Stanley hunting by himself. And I'm like, dude, there's bears. Like, that's a high concentration of grizzly bears in Stanley.
I don't have that kind of nerve.
and he's like hiking way back up in there by himself. I was like, you going to be warm enough? You got everything you need? He's like, I'll be fine. Like, oh my gosh. He did fill his tag, but.
Oh, yeah.
That's how Dennis is. My husband, he'll.
I'll show you. You know who it is. I don't know if he wants me to say who it is, but.
He's a super dedicated hunter, and he can go out and do all that very safely. He's got.
It makes me so nervous. Like when my buddies just go out there by themselves. It makes me so nervous.
It makes me very nervous, but
he does it, yeah.
I get lost going 10 feet into the forest, so. But he can navigate his way out of anything, so he's very safe every time he goes out on his own, and he can do it. I can't. But.
Yeah, well, that's another good point to highlight, though, is that the gun and the firearm are only, a small part of it.
There's a lot.
There's a lot to the hunting. The quiet kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's off.
I don't know if he wants me to say who he is or not, but
we'll keep his operational security.
If he's listening, he knows who it is.
Yeah,
we know who you are.
He's a big deal now.
Kind of.
Yeah,
we hung out. He spent the night at my house, like I said, and we just hung out, caught up.
Oh. Good. Hope he's doing well.
He is.
Good.
Says he is.
So let's talk about. I just got through talking about how the gun and the rifle are only a small part of the hunting experience, but let's talk about that part. How do you go about choosing a rifle for hunting? Did you kind of build your own rifle, like building an AR, or what is kind of the process with that?
I absolutely built my own, but that was Dennis, my husband. He does a little bit of gunsmithing on the side, and he can do that. So he's
kind of a big deal.
He's kind of a big
Sounds
deal.
He's
like awesome. He put one together for me. I just built it off. It was a Remington 700 Action, and it's an amazing, beautiful gun. It's a little heavy for me now. I need to change out the stock. I was swearing the last time I had to haul it around for days. But
sure.
So that for me was pretty easy. But off-the-shelf stuff is pretty good too. If you get the right gun, you can be just fine. I have a gun that might be hanging out in the vault on an extended layaway. That might be my next hunting rifle.
But there's a lot of, like you're saying, there's a lot of stuff you can buy off the shelf, like the Ruger American or the Tikka. There's some...
Oh, the Ruger Americans are great.
The Bagheera. There's some good stuff out there that's really affordable. And some of them are scope gun packages you can just buy and take right out to the field.
And I think that's the biggest hang up for a lot of people is that they start, but they have no idea. It's so overwhelming. Mm-hmm. Caliber's easy. You can pick your caliber pretty quickly, but sure. the gun itself and the optics and what kind of are you going to do long range hunting, and if you are, you're going to have to you take a lot of classes. It's not just something you can read a book and
pick up and go.
Go
watch a couple YouTube videos.
Yeah, and optics are a really, really big deal, and everyone has a different opinion on what's best, and so it's very expensive. You can't just go out and get $1,000 optic and slap it on your rifle and think that you're going to be,
And I think that's kind of daunting for some people when it comes to the optics, because then when you realize, well, I bought a $400 gun, but then I'm going to put a $1,200 scope on there.
Yeah, optics are crazy.
And it's easy to spend $1,000 on optics.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, very easy.
Especially because you're using, high-powered scopes most of the time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and then you get into the first focal plane and the second focal plane and all the different reticles, and it's so overwhelming. And we could probably teach a class completely on just optics, and it wouldn't even skim the surface. It's very overwhelming.
Yeah, but you had an inside track with Dennis.
I do have my inside track.
Yeah, you had the fast track.
I can ask all these questions over and over again because I have a very short memory, and he's very patient with me and helps me tremendously. Especially, the first focal plane, second focal plane was such a hurdle for me. I couldn't, for a good year, I couldn't tell the difference, and now I've got it.
Now you got it down.
But that's all him. If it wasn't for him, I would be just as ignorant as everybody else. It's too much. There's so much information out there now. It's
got to take a lot of time to digest and kind of figure out, and the other thing is you probably have to go out and figure it out and try it out, so if you go out and for an elk or a deer or whatever, and that doesn't work out, and maybe the optic wasn't what you wanted.
I see a lot of people blaming the gun for the the missed shot.
Sure.
So we can give people advice on the right guns, and I don't know, Mike and Dennis teach that long range class, and that helps tremendously because you actually get to shoot the rifles, and you shoot your own setup, and then you shoot their setup, and you see the difference. And it's usually a very big difference.
And those two combined, the amount of information that they have is...
It's crazy. Dennis just gets it. There's a lot of math to it, and...
Sure.
And me and math, we're not friends.
Yeah.
So it amazes me watching them. And Mike does everything old school. He doesn't, he uses all the equipment and the technical stuff, but he's been sniper stuff for decades. And so he can do it all in his head. It's just amazing.
It's almost like second nature.
Where there's rangefinders now that pretty much tell you exactly what to dial, and you don't have to do anything except pull the trigger, but he can tell you without even looking at a rangefinder or anything how far a shot is, what to dial for it.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Do you think that all that technology helps or kind of takes away from the experience? Like, what do you think about all that kind of technology that's coming out?
I personally love the technology. I struggle without it because it's really, I think it's very interesting looking at the math, and I can do the math, but I'm slow with it. So if I am actually shooting at an animal and I need to do the math in my head, I don't necessarily have time to open up a dope book and check out to what changed my turrets to and everything.
Yeah, the situation may have changed by the time you're all done.
I point my fancy rangefinder at the target, and it'll tell me exactly what to dial and what to hold for wind, and because it'll take into account temperature and air pressure and everything.
Wow,
and
that's crazy.
But without it, I'd be okay, guys, I'm not shooting past 200 today.
But that has to make, hunting a little bit more accessible too. It gets people out there, and it gets people more excited about it if you can actually make those shots with that, because then
that's the ticket, is if you can make those shots.
If you can make the shot, yeah.
You have to be really confident in what your equipment is, and you have to practice. We see so many guys come in when August hits and the rifle range is full for the next 3 months. Sure. Because you have the guys who get their guns out and they dust them off and, sight them in one time, and that's it. And they're going out and shooting stuff, and that makes me nervous. I understand people don't have a lot of time on their hands, but you should really be practicing.
Well, I don't know. Didn't I see some of that made me think some of the other people I've seen here that spend way too much time on something that's not even going to work for them, and... there's just, I'm not, he might listen, I don't know, so I'm not going to say that, but
he's backing himself into a corner.
But there's just like some of the stuff you see on the 100-yard range is just a little too ridiculous.
Yeah, you see all kinds of stuff come through the 100-yard.
Limited on a 100-yard range is what you can
when
do.
When you're taking one shot and then you adjust and then you take one shot, you're not doing yourself any favors.
Yeah. So what? Let's go back to, you said people come in, sight the rifle in once, and go out to hunt. Why does that make you nervous?
Well, it's just like, it's the same thing with archery. People will go on they have their certain hunting times, so they'll go out and they'll hunt, and that's it for them. They put their guns away, they put their bows away, and they don't touch it again until the season comes in the next year.
So they're one and done.
And it's not a skill that just stays with you. You get your training. Oh, well, I can shoot this bullseye. I'm great. So I'm going to stop for the next 9 months. And that's it. It's just kind of unnerving. And then it's really unnerving when we get the guys that come back in. Oh, well, I've been hunting and I missed so many times and I need to sight in my rifle. It's like, wait, you've been hunting, so you're going to sight it in here this one time and then you're going to hop right back out and everything's going to be fine.
Oh man.
It doesn't work like that. So best of luck to you. I don't know.
So it's more consistent practice really, and knowing how your rifle's going to perform. Is that kind of the key then?
Yeah, with any firearms, with a pistol or a rifle, you need to be practicing and know what your gun does and know what guns are really sensitive to the ammunition you're using, rifles.
Yeah, so very much so.
You can't just grab a box off the shelf and expect your gun to be perfect. It's different with every single round.
Yeah, that's like we've talked about, in a defensive handgun, making sure you shoot the ammo that you carry.
Yeah.
Because you don't necessarily know how your gun's going to operate with hollow points, depending, it might like Spear better than Hornady or whatever.
Yeah.
So rifles are much the same.
Yeah. Well, and you're going to be shooting at a living target. So I think to me, that's a bigger deal. If you're shooting crappy ammunition out of your pistol, the chances of you actually needing it are pretty slim. But when you're hunting, you're actively going after a moving target.
It's for a dedicated purpose.
Yeah, the stakes are a lot higher in that regard.
It's that ethics thing again. So
pesky ethics.
Who'd have thunk that you'd have to practice for hunting or shooting any and every type of firearm?
Weird.
Who'd have thunk? So do you do any like shotgun like waterfowl hunting, or is that?
I do. I'm very poor at it. I'm not good. Something about I'm left eye dominant, and something about focusing on that bead on a shotgun. I'm a little bit better than I was last year.
That's good.
And our dove hunt this year, it was slightly more successful. I shot a lot and I hit very little, but it's in shooting at dove. Thankfully, we were with several other hunters that could make up for my mistakes.
Follow-up shots for you.
Yeah, because that's got to be a whole nother ball game than
really
rifle
is.
hunting.
It's fun. It's super fun, but I don't have any opportunity to shoot shotguns, really. We don't go out and shoot clays or anything much. One of the independent women actually is a big clay shooter. She loves going out and doing that. So hopefully she's going to teach us. So that would be awesome. I would love to become a better shotgun shooter.
Yeah,
because
same.
Dennis, again, he's like this miracle person with all guns. He grew up in the Pacific Flyway guiding.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In Northern California. So he's amazing. He can shoot anything that flies, and he doesn't even have to look. I've seen him do hip shots and just
really,
yeah, it's unreal. He's just amazing.
Got to meet this guy.
He's
never met him.
He's amazing.
He's cool.
Yeah, because I mean that's a big void in my firearm skill set too. Is I know how to operate a shotgun and point it at a static target, but I mean I went clay shooting once and I hit none.
Yeah,
and Steve went clay shooting once. We talked about this a while ago, and you hit
23 out of 100.
It's hard.
Oh, it was awful. My son beat me, and he shoots less than I do.
Yeah, and he got what, 24?
Yeah, I think he was closer to 30.
Our boys are very good with their shotguns. Our youngest, he's 17. He goes out on his own now, looking for geese and ducks. Goes out with his buddies, and that's
awesome.
We got him a shotgun last year for his birthday, and he's hooked.
Loving it.
He's got a problem. He goes out there all the time, and I love goose hunting. Goose hunting's really, really fun, but I don't mind the cold, but I don't have a lot of fat on my body to fight it off.
I hate cold weather. I don't blame you.
I don't last long.
You don't have the insulation like Steve does.
I dress like an Eskimo. Then I don't have the movement. So
Right.
Well, and you have to have the right spots too. You have to know someone who knows somebody so you can get the right fields and stuff. And we just don't. Mm-hmm. We don't have that kind of access, unfortunately. We're working on it, but
yeah, because it's not like going into the backcountry here. Really, you have to kind of go out into a more open area, right?
Yeah, and as we're becoming more populated, you used to when I first moved here, 18 years ago, you could go out on canal banks and stuff like that, and streams out south of town or whatever, and shoot
so many
birds.
houses
But
now.
now it's all full, and it's getting harder and harder to find
The spots are
public
going
places
away.
to go. Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Yeah, that's the tough part about
There's always
Idaho.
the green belt, I guess. Lots of geese down there.
Start hearing
Go out
pull.
to Ann Morrison.
Yeah, or you just walk down. Yeah, go down Main Street and just they're sitting right there. You don't have to wait for anything.
They'll just stand there.
You could probably just reach out and grab one with when you're driving past or something.
Man, I'll tell you something. So
Geese are mean. I wouldn't want it.
where my office was, they had like a family of baby geese or whatever, and they
No.
were so like the parents were so aggressive or whatever, and they would stare you down, like walking from your car to like through the parking lot, just stare right back at them. I swear, if anyone ever came at me, just grab them by the neck. I'm not afraid of geese. Some people are terrified of geese.
I'm terrified of geese. They're mean.
I'd probably
big.
get a finger bitten off, but at least they'd be able to grab them.
No,
by
they don't
the
really
neck.
have teeth. They got some little burrs in their bill, but
Yeah,
nothing.
but it probably wouldn't feel good.
No.
No, they get you with their wings. They're
Well, and
brutal.
I don't know if they have spurs like chickens or not. If the male geese have spurs.
I don't
think
know.
they
It's a
do.
good question.
But they're big. They're big and
They
mean.
are pretty big. Yeah.
They have
I'll
a good, they do bite. Like you get a good pinch.
Yeah, I've never been bitten by a goose, so never want to. But thankfully, the geese have migrated now.
They're staring you down. That's
So-
funny. What are you looking at, eh?
I'll look right back at you. I don't care. Well, what's funny is, so they crossed this. Somebody pointed this out to me too. Is that they crossed the street, downtown in Boise, and all the cars stopped for them.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody goes, they can fly, right? So they decide to walk across the street like jerks.
They own it. That's
Instead
why.
of flying, they don't care.
They have attitude.
Well, in the city,
Yeah, they sure do.
The city made some ordinance about geese too, didn't they? A couple years ago. Like,
They were becoming pretty.
yeah, but you still can't mess with them or
No, I think it's illegal to hit them or
deliberately
kill them.
swerve at them.
Yeah.
Which I
Well,
do.
yeah,
I
I
wouldn't.
would.
I wouldn't do that
Hope so.
anyway. But yeah. No,
You
it's
can't just grab them as you drive by.
time to the car. So
Lasso.
well, cool. Yeah, so that's hunting.
Hunting.
So what else are you working on? You got the X5.
Yeah,
Right,
I'm
you
still
got-
shooting my X5. I'm actually.
Such a nice gun.
NRA has this little marksmanship qualification thing. It's just
hate that.
And I've been trying so hard to get the expert part. It's all honor system kind of shooting.
Oh, really?
So, but I realized how little I've been practicing my single-handed shots.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah.
I started doing that, and I was laughing because I was a good 6 inches left the first time I shot with my left hand, my weak hand. So I've been practicing constantly, trying to get in there, and I'm getting better slowly, but it's still embarrassing how.
Slowly but surely. I mean, when I did the not a koala, the little qualification that we have here, that the reason why I didn't make it was because of the one-handed and the offhanded
You're
shooting.
welcome.
Yeah, because it's both. I think there's a round where you do just one-handed,
Dominant and
then you
support
do a
hand, yeah.
support hand or whatever, and two hands I can shoot pretty darn well, but
Yeah.
when it gets to one hand, I'm like, oh, that should be easy, no problem. Bill said that people usually shoot better one hand. Nope.
Well,
Not me.
with the X5, I shoot great. Single-handed, it's awesome, but with my little XD,
A little different story.
it's frustrating.
I think recoil management probably has something to do with that too.
Yeah, it's,
What is the little marksmanship program? What kind of is involved in that?
you can Google it. It's easy to find. There's little steps, and I think you can. They must have previously given away. You get little patches and certificates and stuff like that. But now you have to, I think, mail it in or email it in. Your targets. There's a specific target you have to use, and,
Oh, okay.
and go through a certain course of fire, and someone has to watch you. The more you, at first, it's like. You can just email them and tell them that you did it, and they'll, okay, here's your certificate.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I'm sure you have to pay for it. It's the NRA, but
I can't remember if a counselor or somebody has to see you do it.
the more progressive ones.
Because we were working on
an
it
instructor
before.
has to watch
before I
you.
came here, we were working on it in Idaho Falls,
Okay.
and it was.
So
it was
they
kind of a pain in the
increase in
butt.
difficulty,
the last
obviously.
one, it's
yeah.
the last one I'm
The 20,
stuck on.
20
and
yards, 5 rounds or something. I can't remember what it might have even.
Yeah, because you can do 5 rounds on your own speed, which is great, but then you have to do 5 rounds in 10 seconds, and that's.
Oh, wow.
It's not like it's super fast, but when you're trying to do it you're trying to hit this teeny tiny black circle.
And it's 20 yards away.
It's mind over matter. So, in my mind.
Sure.
won't do it yet.
Well, and there's that pressure sometimes, that mental pressure of you're being timed.
Clock.
Yeah, it's the clock. I mean, that'll really do it to you. So.
Well, I'm working with that Mantis trainer too on my X5.
Oh, are you?
And that's helping.
Yeah, let's talk about that because I've been super interested in that, and we've wanted to do a gear review on it.
It's awesome. I'll let you use mine. It's amazing.
That'd be cool.
I keep telling Ryan, I was like, dude, I'll do videos. Just give me product.
Give me a couple.
I bought one. It's a great little thing.
Yeah, talk about what it is a little bit and what it does.
It's this teeny tiny little device. It's about a 1 inch by 1 inch, if that, and you can hook it onto the rail of your gun if you have a rail. If you don't have a rail, they have magazine adapters, so you can put it on a magazine, and it gives you real time shooting assessment. Basically, there's graphs and there's charts, and there's the one that I particularly like to use. I'll turn it on with that X5. And it'll show you, it's a little squiggly line, and it goes as you're pulling the trigger and taking your shot. It'll show you where you were when you were pulling the trigger, when the shot broke, and your recoil management. And they'll have different colors for all of it.
It's pretty amazing little
It's awesome.
piece of technology.
And it'll give you
it'll
give you percentages, and it'll graphs, and you'll get a score. So you try to score over 90 every time. So every now and then you'll get like a 70, and it's super frustrating. But it's pretty accurate. It's a new product, so they're not 100% accurate, but they're pretty close. And it has an adapter for a rifle. You can do it on a rifle too.
Oh, wow, I didn't know they had that.
They're working on an adapter for archery, which makes me very happy.
But you can't dry fire with a bow.
Well, no, you don't. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, but you can shoot a bow in your garage if you really wanted to. So,
or in your basement. I know lots of people that shoot them in their basement.
Yeah. Well, and it has the different settings. You can. It has different sensitivity levels for if you're using it for dry fire, or live fire. Which hand you're using. It programs that all in. And those guys who made it, they're pretty smart.
They're not terribly expensive either.
They're not. The one I got, the X10, and it's. The top of the line one with all the fancy features.
And it's not. I mean, it's not cheap. I mean, it's not like $40.
It retailed for $249. I obviously did not buy it for that cost. And that's why I work at the gun store.
That's a perk.
But it's awesome, and I finally have to charge it now, and I've had it almost a year.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so
that's cool.
Yeah,
you can almost set it and forget it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Wow!
You just have to remember to shut it off. That's all. Just push the button.
Does it give you like tips then, and what to work on, things to work on?
Every single shot, it'll tell you what you did. If you shot great, it won't give you any advice. But if you pulled it or anything,
same thing again.
It'll tell you what you did, and you can go to a video, you can go to a tutorial.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, and it's all on your phone right there. You have an app, so you can set your phone down on the lane and just watch what's. If you watch every single shot, it can get really aggravating. But if you just kind of go with the overall experience, that's nice. If you're trying to do some precise bullseye shooting, it's very, very helpful.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and I imagine if, maybe you 10, 15 rounds at a time, or maybe a magazine at a time, you can see that maybe what consistently you need to work on. There's a pattern, if you're consistently shooting low, or, maybe your grip, kind of falls apart after, so many rounds or something. And that's got to be cool.
I was pulling a lot of shots, and it helped me with that. And it has drills programmed in, reload drills, things of that sort. Yeah, it's awesome.
So you say it's helped you get better and improve?
Absolutely. I recommend it to everybody who can afford it.
My favorite thing is that you can dry fire practice with it.
Yeah,
I think that's a huge advantage. And it's not just live fire. So, man, I got to get one of those.
Yeah, you just have to make sure it's on like a real rail, because my XD has kind of a rail, but it only has the two little notches, and it wasn't enough for it to hang on to, so it kind of slid around on it, and I had to get an adapter for it. But
like a magazine one?
Yeah.
Is it a big difference with the magazine adapter? You just tell it that it's on the mag instead of the rail, or?
Yeah, it's easy. You
nice.
Just have just a few little.
It's crazy that it can tell the difference. So that just it intrigues me.
Yeah,
it's really amazing. You have to tell it which direction it's facing on your rail. Yeah. There's little diagonal lines to show you which. Those guys are smart.
It's very cool, because like my PPS doesn't really have a rail. It kind of does, but not really.
Yeah, it just has a couple slides, right?
Yeah. So you could put something like that on there, but it could slide around or whatever. So
that's what it was frustrating on my XD.
Just duct tape it.
Yeah, or zip ties, whatever. Universal thing for anything. So cool, man. Well, I'm glad you're doing really well. And
it's good to see you guys again.
Come get a great class from Sarah. What's next for Sarah Van Acker?
Oh gosh, right now I'm just working on the classes. We're working on independent women. It's November. everything's a muddle. So.
Yeah. And daylight saving, well, by the time this podcast comes out, daylight saving time will have hit actually that day. So, but yeah, daylight savings time hasn't hit yet, and I'm really over it. I hate getting up early and then it's dark and
stupid.
I don't mind the fall one. It's the spring one that I really hate.
That's the only thing only thing Benjamin Franklin did that's dumb.
You should move to Arizona. They don't recognize daylight savings time.
Well, Idaho talked about it at one point, I think.
Oh, really?
I'd be happy if
would not surprise me. Would not surprise me. The only it's because that's the Idaho way.
I don't.
Well, it's dumb, especially in our area, because we have the mountains on either side. So it takes the sun a long time to rise up anyway. I imagine it's probably similar in eastern Idaho. Mm-hmm. It just takes the sun a long time to get up. Mm-hmm. You know, even during the summer months.
It takes me a long time.
But yeah, so it makes it that much more frustrating. So, but yeah, now it's time for the 5 questions.
I'm nervous about this. I have no idea what to expect.
Steve decided that we needed to, and we wanted to get to know our guests.
Kind of make it a little bit more personalized, or
get to know them better.
Up a little bit, and it's just something different. So I came up with these 5 questions.
We know Sarah the shooter. We want to know Sarah the person.
Oh. I'm very boring.
And I think, was Jessica the first one that we did the 5 questions
I think so. And everybody's knocked it out of the park since her, too. Yeah. But she set the gold standard.
Yeah, she does. She sets the bar high.
Pretty high bar.
Yes, she does.
Jessica.
And it took the podcast in a direction we didn't expect, actually.
Well, yeah, that's the fun part about it. So
okay, so like we said, there's 5 questions.
You can answer them you can be as long or as short-winded as you want.
Okay, cool.
No pressure.
No, all right. Okay. I'm a little nervous.
All right. So the first one, what experience in your life has been the most influential and why?
Having kids. I had kids very early, so that was I had to grow up pretty fast. I was 21 when I had my daughter, and it was, she's almost 21 now, and watching her thinking that, wow, I was...
what was I thinking?
Wow.
You did that,
I was very young. But she absolutely changed my life, went in a great direction and changed my responsibilities. And she's a great kid now, despite everything I did wrong. She's an awesome kid. She's a biochemistry major, getting A's. And
smart.
Big deal.
She's a good kid. And my son's about to go into the Air Force. And those kids, they changed my life 100%.
Awesome.
It's kind of cliche, but they absolutely did.
Cool, man.
But it's reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all that matters.
They're awesome.
Cool.
All right, number 2, you ready?
Yep.
You just won the lottery, and it's a huge amount of money. I'll let you say it's an exorbitant amount of money.
More money than you'd ever need.
Sweet.
So what's the first thing you do with it, and why?
I'd pay off my mortgage, and I would buy a bunch of land out in the middle of the mountains so that I could hunt all the time.
Whenever you wanted.
Own private refuge.
If it's really an exorbitant amount, I'll buy my family property somewhat nearby.
The next lot over.
The kids
a few
won't
hundred
get much.
miles away.
Over in Montana. Nice.
Well, that was easy. See?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was boring.
Right,
but we want land. That's all.
Dude, I would love just land, not even to hunt on, just to have, and just to go out into the quiet and
no neighbors.
And I think I might have said this before. Like one day I'm going to retire in Ennis, Montana.
Oh, I like Ennis.
It's cool, huh?
Never been. The first time I went to Montana was this summer. I went to Yellowstone, and we ate dinner or lunch at West Yellowstone. Oh, it's a cool place, man. I can see the appeal of Montana just in that little.
And Ennis is totally different. It sits in this little valley, and it's quiet.
West Yellowstone's so touristy. I used to live in Ashton, and everybody in Ashton worked in West Yellowstone.
Oh, okay.
So it's it was a different world.
Yeah, it seemed a little touristy, but it was a cool area.
It's still
very
laid back.
pretty. So
a little bit like Jackson used to be.
Yep.
Oh, that's a cool place too. Mm-hmm. That's where I decided I need to get rich and live a life of leisure.
No, I would not want to live in Jackson.
Not anymore.
If you had enough money?
No.
Really?
No way.
Me neither.
Or Star Valley.
Seemed pretty cool, man. I don't know. I'm more of an urban person though, but I don't know.
Jackson's just like a mountain Los Angeles right now.
Yeah, it used to be awesome.
I guess I would have like a place downtown, and then I'd have another place like
several places. Why not?
Yeah, you got an exorbitant.
Staff.
Why not? Yeah, you got to
really elaborate on this lottery question.
Yeah, it's getting expensive.
Yeah, right.
All right, number 3. You ready?
Yes.
What's your biggest fear?
Oh gosh. Biggest fear, probably Alzheimer's. Losing my memory, forgetting who people were. That'd be a rough one. That scares me half to death.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. That's
at least you wouldn't realize it, I guess, if you had Alzheimer's.
I used to work in a rehabilitation hospital, and I remember someone was diagnosed with Huntington's disease, and I asked the neurologist, I didn't even know what that was, and she said, Huntington's disease, it's really devastating and sad because basically you lose your mind and then you die. And
Yikes.
awful.
She didn't sugarcoat it at all, did
no,
she?
she was very blunt, which is fun. That's what you would want. But she, I don't know. After that, I was thinking about the mind diseases, dementia, and Alzheimer's, and things that really, that'd be rough.
Yeah.
That'd be a tough one. I don't fear death or anything, but a long, slow, sad death would be pretty awful.
Yeah,
I can't disagree with you on that one.
That's a downer one. Thank you, Sarah.
Sorry.
We were going so well with the money
guys.
question.
That's okay.
All
I
right.
fear snakes.
What would you say is your biggest achievement?
Biggest achievement.
You can repeat answers if you want to.
Well, the kids are an obvious one, but my something that I'm the most proud of that I personally did was graduating college, because I actually didn't graduate high school. I left way too early, and then I had my kids, so I didn't get to go. I got my GED immediately, but I didn't get to go back to school until 10 years later, and I was divorced at the time, so I put myself through school. I was bound and determined to get it done before the kids were teenagers. I don't know why that was my goal, but that was my goal. And I did. I graduated. It was very hard. I had to work full time and go to school full time.
Kudos. Man, that's a lot of work.
Raised 2 kids while I was doing it. And granted, I couldn't have done it without Dennis and a lot of help from everybody. But I was a single mom, and as soon as I graduated, the year I graduated, I got married, and
right on.
It was awesome. But that's cool. I'm super proud of that degree. I still haven't really used it, but I'm very, very proud of that.
Wait, can we ask, what did you get your degree in?
Technical writing.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Not really using that in a gun store much, but
no. But there was a lot that the graphic design and stuff, it all ties in together. So
yeah, that's true.
It's an English major, so I proofread all Ryan's emails,
which is a good idea.
I have to imagine.
I've read some of Ryan's emails. It's a good idea.
Actually, that probably helps with education too a little bit, and coming up with curriculum and all that.
And in the TAC Pack stuff that we do, I do all their content management and. Making sure everything's readable and all their marketing stuff. And that's technical writing. It's just making stuff readable, accessible to your users.
Yeah, actually, if you don't mind, we could pause the questions for a minute, because we didn't talk about TAC Pack. I'm sorry I didn't ask.
That's okay.
So if you don't know what TAC Pack is, what is TAC Pack?
TAC Pack is a clear ammunition packaging. It's we geared more towards manufacturers and reloaders. It's kind of it's something you would have to look up online to really. Describing it would be extremely confusing, but it's basically a trifold clear ammunition container. It's made of virgin plastic, so it's super clear. It's recyclable. It's not watertight, but it's water resistant, and so it protects from the elements. Reloaders really like it because you can see the exact round you're using. A lot of long-range shooters, competitors use it, and the manufacturers are just now starting to get wind of it. We've been going to SHOT Show for almost 5 years now, and we're getting in there. We have the Idaho Ordnance. I think it's their specialty, the precision ammunitions in the TAC Packs, and it's just a cool box that locks together.
Yeah.
And
I've used it, I use it, and it's
very inexpensive.
And it's awesome because they stack together. You can, I have a lot for my 9mm, so I can hold 50 rounds.
Yeah.
And so I can stack them all up in there.
And space save and all that.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Cool, and it looks cool. It looks really cool. It's very photogenic.
I even gave some to one of my buddies.
I mean, that's at least 80% of getting into guns is looking cool. So, because if you don't look cool, then what are you doing?
Yeah, it's a waste of time.
So anyway, you just want to make sure we got the TAC Pack in there, because that's a big deal too. So.
Yeah, I'm proud of
it. It is a big deal.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the questions. I think we're on 4 or 5.
We only have one left.
Oh man, I got it in the nick of time.
Made it through.
Yeah.
So this is by far my favorite question.
Okay.
No pressure. I know how I would answer. Oh, this got a little louder. I know how I would answer, but I really like hearing what other people say, because it's usually it can be a pretty dynamic answer.
Okay.
There's no wrong answer either.
Yeah.
Just to put that out there.
We'll see.
Are you ready? So who is your favorite hero? Or who would you consider your hero, and why?
My hero. Oh my gosh, I have lots of heroes. I don't think I have one specific hero.
Everybody's got a hero.
One specific? I mean, my husband is my hero. That sounds so corny. It goes against any feminist nature I have to say, oh, it's my husband. But it is, he's awesome.
But he's a badass.
Amazing.
That makes sense.
He's pretty badass, and he makes me a better person. But besides my husband, I really, really look up to my mom. My mom is who made me who I am. She was a single mom as well for some time. She got married she ran away from home, got married at 16.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Had my brother at 17 and me at 20. So she was very young and that's what she wanted to do. It was planned. Wow. She didn't like accidentally have us or anything like that, which nobody believes, but it's absolutely
That's
true.
Amazing.
And she went through some stuff. But she was always a very solid, strong, be yourself. I was an extreme tomboy growing up, and I went through some very, very awkward phases, but she was always my biggest cheerleader, obviously.
Yeah.
She was a good example. Just always follow your dreams. You can achieve anything. That kind of this stuff
awesome.
Parents are supposed to do. She was awesome. And she was great. She did the single mom thing and handled it. And now she gets to be an artist in California. I don't visit her because she's in California. Poor mom. I love you, Mom. But
is she okay with all the fires and stuff?
No, well, she had her electricity off for 3 days, and she was a little sad about that. But
oh man,
she's a little disenchanted with California. She's a gypsy. She's moved a bajillion times.
Oh, wow.
But she'll be back.
Get her to move up here.
Yeah, she used to live in Glens Ferry. We were nomads. I moved a bunch of times. I've actually moved 31 times.
Oh my God.
Oh wow.
We just bounced around a lot. She still bounces around. I'm solid. I'm not moving for a long time.
Yeah.
You had enough moving as a kid.
I'm done. But
Yeah, I don't blame you.
yeah,
Man.
mom was it. But there's so many heroes I have. Jessica's my hero. She's amazing.
She's pretty cool.
She does so much, and she never stops. And so I don't know. There's just a lot of people that you can say are your heroes.
It's a good answer. I like that one. That's a unique answer. We've never had that one before.
Yeah, we had a lot of people. My dad passed away a couple years ago, and he was heroic to me, but in a completely different way. So get heroism out of everybody.
Sure.
Steve's my hero.
I don't know why.
Wow. Well, you're a big deal.
You are a big deal, Steve.
I'm big. I don't know if I'm a big deal. Look at that.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah. I hope you had fun.
Thanks, guys.
And if you want to get a hold of Sarah, just let us know. Podcast at iishooting.com. We'll point you in her direction, or let us know at Facebook or Instagram at Range Minded Podcast, or the Independent Woman ID, I believe, on Facebook as well. So,
and then Tac Pack, do you have a presence on Tac Pack?
For the website, it's TACPAC, tac-pac.net.
.net. So you're going to throw people off with that.
We tried to buy the
old.
.com, but it was someone else had it for like $5,000, and we weren't doing that. So.
Oh man, that does look nice. Got to give me some Tac Pack.
They're awesome.
There you go. Cool. Well, thank you, Sarah, and thanks for listening. And we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Range Minded. Find us online at Range Minded Podcast on Facebook, or send us an email at podcast@iishooting.com. We're always happy to get feedback, episode suggestions, whatever you want to send us, really. And be sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and pretty much wherever else you get your podcasts from. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.